Okay, everyone, we're just waiting for people to come live.
Ready?
Well, we're just waiting for people to come live.
All
so,
right. Okay.
So we'll just hang on just a minute. And
What time do we have?
58.
so it gives
Okay,
them
we
just
got
a
a
couple
couple
minutes. Yep,
All
so
right.
you can come.
So, grab any friends, anybody you know who's got health issues that they may be dealing with, or who wants to talk a little bit more about how to be fit. What I'm going to do tonight is we're going to share a couple of reviews that we received, which are really sweet, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about motivation and what I did to be motivated and what many people are dealing with in motivation. And then I'm going to go through and show you what I do in my 10-minute a day routine.
Okay, alrighty. Okay, make sure you let's put your mic on so that
Oh, yeah.
we can hear you. Okay.
All right.
Alrighty, these are for you.
Good. So, Christine, how did it go for you this last week?
You know, this last week was actually pretty good for me, and I think I had actually called and talked to you about it, but I want to share with you. I had actually realized where some of my setback came from. So I was doing just fine on the Cellercise and then started a class at the college, which required me to do an hour and 45 minutes of incredibly intense, jarring exercise. And it was after that class that it would take me down for several days. And so as you had suggested to bounce right before I go, because I need to finish the class, and come home afterwards and just help bounce for afterwards. What a difference.
Good.
What a huge difference that made. So I think we might actually survive passing Western Swing.
Good. All right.
So,
sounds like a lot of fun.
it is a lot of fun, but it is a lot of jumping up. You
Yeah.
really are bouncing up and down and jumping, a lot of jarring, which I've realized how this absorbs all that jarring and catches that weight for me, where it
Good.
was, the floor doesn't do that for me, and it just hurts me. So I'm
All
glad
right.
we know now.
That's good. Often people will get on a Cellerciser and they'll notice something, an ache in their foot or in their knee area or their back or their neck. And Cellercise is very helpful in exposing weaknesses before they become real serious. And then there are specific movements that we can do on the Cellerciser to help strengthen and improve the circulation, flexibility, and health of those particular areas of the body. So under our customer review section of our website are several of the testimonials or experiences that people have had. We've got a lot more that we will be doing. The app we're expecting to launch it this week. They're working on it as I speak. It looks good. We're going to do our pre-launch. I'm hoping by the end of this week, so we'll have time over the weekend for all of us to be able to enjoy it and who want to participate. But yeah, we're excited about it. And let me share a couple of the customer reviews that we've had. It says, glad to see David getting the exposure he should have. I bought a Cellerciser over a decade ago. And no matter what other exercise I do, I always come back to it. It works so fast and does not damage my body. I am 62 now and know that this is one exercise I can do for the rest of my life. I can relate to that, Annette. I can relate. Thank you. Cheryl writes, anyone want to buy a barely used Bellicon? Ha ha. I'm selling mine and getting one of these. Thanks for informing. I already noticed everything you are talking about, namely the ankle pain and the pronation and the center force slant. How have they stayed in business? Well, you know, I don't want to put Bellicon or the bungee cord units down. I think it's fun to jump. It's fun. But for exercise purposes, there is no way in the world that those can come close to giving you the kind of support that you're going to get on a Cellerciser. If it's too soft, you're not going to get benefits. And if it's too soft, your feet are going to pronate more. We have to have resistance. It's resistance that causes the muscles and the bones to get bigger and stronger. It's the resistance that causes the valves to open and shut. We simply don't want the jarring effect. So I appreciate those letters, and keep them coming and keep sharing them. They're great. All right, let's talk a little bit about motivation. Some of you have been with us from the very beginning, and I hope you're noticing benefits, whether it's increased flexibility, circulation, energy, weight loss, or inches, and those are two different things, and that you're just beginning to feel better. But if you're not getting the results you want to get as quickly as you want, I want you to take a step back a little bit and just take 3 deep breaths, relax, know that this is a lifestyle change. This isn't something that we're going to be doing for a month or 2 months and then we achieve a certain goal or objective. This is a lifetime program that we do every day to open up circulation, to increase oxygen blood flow to the brain, to improve circulation to the bones and the joints, the tissue spaces of the body, activate the lymphatic system, the immune system, and we can target all the various different areas of the body by altering the angle of our body, creating leverage. And again, for those who are newer to Cellercise, Cellercise is not weight lifting, it is weight bearing, which means the increase of weight is on all the muscles in the body, from the inside out, not just certain areas of the body. So motivation. There's basically 3 types when I lecture that I talk about. The first type of motivation is what we call fear motivation. That's a motivation that really catches our attention because it's generally related to a health condition or something serious that gets our attention. It is a great motivator. I had to go through that myself when I was exposed to the asbestos poisoning. But in the process of that, we start to develop certain habits. Now, fear motivation often works. In fact, for those who are Christians and who believe in the Bible, it's interesting. In the early part of the Bible, you see is God is a God of fear. You better do what I say, or I'm going to send the Philistines or the plagues or whatever the conditions, floods, pestilence, upon you. And that was fear motivation, and they didn't want to deal with that.
That's true.
Well, as it progresses, then it becomes more what we call incentive motivation. Incentive motivation is, hey, if you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to be blessed. I'm going to bless you with peace and prosperity and health, and it goes on and on. Well, it's the same way in our own personal life. As we continue to pursue our goals and objectives, we're losing weight, we're improving our immune system, we're improving our overall body function, how we feel, how we perform, how we sleep, and those are great incentives. A successful person is going to know how to constantly change their incentive motivation, and they often do with certain rewards. And in the Mr. Rebounder app that we're coming out with, you're actually it's going to track you with the little jewels that you get kind of as an incentive, as a reward, so you stay motivated. But we often have to think of new ways of creating incentive. It can change from one week to the next. So if you're discouraged in any way, think of another way that you can create an incentive. For me, it was putting the Cellerciser between my bedroom and the living room and having to step over it.
Done the same thing.
And if I didn't step over it, if I ran into it, I'd end up with a mark on my shin, and it would hurt. And that was fear motivation and a little incentive motivation, and it worked. But ultimately, what's going to happen is internal motivation. We're going to do it because we feel better, and we don't want to start the day without Cellercise, because we realize that our blood chemistry changes, our immune system is improved, our ability to perform is enhanced, and that becomes internal. And that's what we see in the Bible. Internal motivation is a change of heart. It's when we ourselves want to do it because we love the people that we associate with. We love ourselves. We appreciate who we are right now. And we can enjoy the journey, because that's what it is. We're all going through the journey. But you have a great support network here too. And you can call our office at any time. We're here to help support you and inspire you and work with you so that you can reach the goals and objectives, the milestones that are going to help you. We're working with people and have been working with people now for nearly 30 years. And people of all ages, people that began in their 70s that are in their 90s now. Quite a few of them. The quality of life that you can experience and enjoy is, I believe, is unparalleled. I don't think there is any other form of exercise that can universally provide more benefit than what the Cellerciser can. So, Christine, did you have questions?
I did. I had several questions that came in. I just kind of caught one on here, and it looked like Catherine was mentioning something as you were talking about, taking it slowly and making improvements. I think Catherine has actually been following since I started at the 1st of January. Okay. And she had mentioned that her knees are still kind of hurting. Any advice to maybe help Catherine out with that?
Knees are one of my specialties, and there are several approaches we can take, and of course the one of them is to stand with the feet spread apart a little bit and just start rocking with your feet, your knees slightly bent. Rocking side to side works the hips, the thighs, and both sides of the knee. As they get stronger, then we can start to gently bounce side to side. And that, again, is working the hips, the thighs, and the knees. And as we continue to get stronger, then we can go skiing. It's the same burn feeding you would have if you were on the slope. So you can really work that area of the body. The front part of the knee, simply sit down and walk in place. Watch your television program. But as you're walking, you're going to be strengthening the muscles all along the whole front part of the knee. And as those muscles get stronger, they help us to retain more fluid between the joint so that the knee problems or issues often just go away. Now, another one that I haven't promoted publicly yet is when you can take and put the Cellerciser next to, well, for me, it's the armrest of a couch. And you can put your hand on the couch, and I'll fake it here. But if I have both my hands on the couch, I bend at the knee, I jump up, and then come down. So let's pretend it's done like this. But it's kind of hard not to do it with the couch, but it's like that.
Okay.
And you're getting a deep knee bend with a push up. And I'll demonstrate that again in the future, but
we'll make sure we have something close by. So
good.
How long can it take if somebody's got, had really bad knees, maybe they can hear it clicking when they walk. Yeah. How long can that take? Can it be like up to 6 months sometimes, or?
That's a really good question.
You just kind of wonder. You think maybe after a couple months, whoa, but if there's a lot of damage.
It took me 2 years to build up my knees when I began, but I'd torn them up quite a bit. When I tore the meniscus a few years ago in more than one place, the doctor said I had to have surgery, and I didn't. I did the exact same. I wrapped it, and I did the same movements that I teach doctors and health practitioners in our customer base. It took a year, but in 1 year, I had my knee back in excellent condition again. It wasn't popping out anymore, and it hasn't slowed me down a bit.
So just take it slow. Give yourself the time you need.
Give yourself the time you need. Okay. And call me again if you have any questions, because I'm sharing a lot of the different movements, but there are additional movements we can do.
Okay, perfect. Let's look in here and see what we've got. Let's see. Does every exercise done on the Cellerciser strengthen the heart, or are some exercises better than others?
Most all the movement on the Cellerciser is going to help with the heart for several reasons. It's all weight bearing. The heart is a muscle. Most exercises have you work the heart real hard so it stresses it, so it pumps a lot harder, and that it gets stronger. And that is one way to do it. But weight in and of itself, because it's weight bearing on a muscle, the muscle starts to get stronger as well. But the advantage of Cellercise is with most people, they can work a little harder than they would be able to normally because the Cellerciser itself acts as a pump to help move the fluid through the circulatory system, making it easier on the heart and all the collateral muscles around the heart, so that you're getting the benefit without having the stress to the heart that you might with a typical aerobic type exercise.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, someone had just posted a little concern on there, or not a concern, but they had mentioned you can exercise all you want, but if you don't change the way you're eating, especially if you're eating unhealthy, you're really not going to see the benefits as quickly as you would like. And you had mentioned live foods is something that you do, but I think they're kind of asking again, maybe what's a great thing to watch for.
You bet.
So.
Yeah, you're right. If you eat a lot of carbohydrates and you're not exercising, or you're eating a lot of sugars, which really is not that healthy anyway, yeah, that's going to play a part in your overall health. What's nice about the Cellerciser is I didn't stop eating pizzas and cheesecake and all the things that I liked. I didn't start really watching that until about 4 years ago. So I'm 62. And I started doing it only because I know we've got a greater health potential. And for me, I want to know, well, what is that? How healthy can I become? How much energy can I have? What kind of performance can I have? Well, I'm realizing that, yes, diet does play a part. And so there are certain things that we can do to take it even to the next level. But even if you enjoy what I call people food, we have cell food that we feed the cells, and they like that. And then we have people food, and it's what the cells often have to put up with, but it's what tastes good to us. And even though we're eating people food, Cellercise helps us. It helps the body functions to flush out what we don't need more efficiently through the movement up and down, and to absorb nutrients more effectively through the cell membrane itself as we're moving up and down. So we're increasing the oxygen and nutrients and circulation through to the actual cells themselves, so they can utilize those nutrients more efficiently. So even if your diet's not the best, Cellercise is going to help. If you want to get faster results, no question, I suggest that we supplement our diet with more live foods that haven't been processed, but foods that are, like salads. And if you can incorporate more of that into your daily diet, well, then you're getting the people food, and you're also, what I say, turning the menu over to the cells every day and allowing them to choose what they need to maintain the structure and integrity of the body parts and their functions. And we don't know what the cells need, so rather than second guess with a cupboard full of all these various different nutritionals, just give the cells a salad bar of nutrients every day, whether it's in a green drink or whether it's in a salad, that they can choose from. And they'll utilize those nutrients more effectively than they can the dead processed nutrients.
Okay, thank you. All righty. Okay, so we have a few gals asking about their arms, and that tends to be a problem for us women.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to kind of add to this just a little bit. I broke my hand a few months ago, and I still have problems with my hand. And so I can't put some of those where you're pushing against to give resistance. It's the resistance that's helping, right?
Right.
Can you kind of show those, and so I make sure maybe I'm not doing them incorrectly?
Sure.
Okay.
And keep in mind that Cellercise in and of itself is weight bearing. Excuse me. And so that increase of weight helps to build up the arms anyway.
Okay.
But if you want to have faster results, then we increase the isometric part of the movement with the isotonic, which is the moving up and down. The isotonic, or increase of weight, is what causes muscles and bones to get bigger and stronger. The isometric is the resistance portion of it that causes it to tighten and tone.
Right.
So if we're doing the arm curls again, and I did this morning. This is part of my routine. I count to 20 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, can I ask a question?
And that's working the front part
Are you
and the
pushing-
back part.
Are
Yes,
you
you're pushing
okay.
down.
So as you're pushing up, you're
and
pushing
pulling
with
it.
that hand, trying. Okay,
So
there's a difference.
There's
okay.
a pushing and a pulling that's taking place. So you're working the back of the arm.
Okay.
At the same time you're working the front part of the arm, you're also working the forearm.
Okay.
The whole body still has weight on it. Collectively, we're just focusing that weight on
Okay.
those parts of the arms. That's an excellent one. And again, if you want to work the back of the arm, you can do the same thing by kind of pushing and pulling as you push down, and then the same thing coming up, and that's going to work the back of the arms. And then for the chest cavity area, this is very effective as you take your hands, put them together, and you push in while you're moving up and down. And that's working the shoulder and all the way across the upper chest too.
Okay.
So those are some good. I've shown some additional ones on the video.
Perfect. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. Digestion.
So important.
The twist that's almost as beneficial as that health bounce. And what exactly is that doing when I'm going back and forth on there?
You know, digestion, elimination processes are critical for good health, and those are the smooth muscles, and very few exercises are addressing the smooth muscles. So when we stand on the Cellerciser, spread our feet apart a little bit, bend at the knees slightly, lift the heels up and down, and we just do a gentle twist. And I think it's the second most important physical activity we can do every day. This helps to loosen the lower back. We're on the mat the whole time. It takes the colon and the intestine, puts them through a little washing machine effect every day, while it's massaging the liver, kidney, spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, adrenals. Just one of the second most important activity I teach on the Cellerciser. The first simply being this, where you lift the heels up and down, which pumps the calf muscle, which feeds circulation from the lower extremities back up toward the heart, challenging equilibrium and balance, helping to move fluid back to the brain, circulation. Real important.
Okay. Can you speak about bursitis in the hip?
Yeah, anytime we've got an inflammation to a joint area, it's generally, again, caused by either damage or weaknesses in the supporting muscles and ligaments around the joint. So, standing on the Cellerciser, starting off with a gentle health bounce, just like this, to help reduce the inflammation, increase circulation, create a pumping action. Activate the lymphatic system, which holds a negative pressure and creates suction. So as we're moving up and down, within a few minutes of this, we have a circuit of movement of circulation through the bones and joints and tissue space of the body. It's a warm-up for all the cell tissue and membranes. And then we can focus on it by simply doing the hip socket twist, for example, where instead of twisting at the hips or the waist, we're just twisting right in the hip socket. And so this here helps to loosen up the hip joint area. May look a little funny, but let me tell you, you don't want to have hip problems, because when you have hip problems, it affects your overall performance. And so our desire is to restructure and strengthen the supporting muscles and ligaments around the hip, so we have more flexibility. And then when you get to the point where you can, don't start off doing this, but kicking out side to side, that's working the whole hip area. And as those muscles get stronger, they offer more support.
Okay, so I had someone ask here, how long will it take before you can feel and see results with just a 10-minute exercise? I understand that, it's different on different people, but isn't that why there's the 30-day? If you're willing to give it 30 days, you should have seen some kind of improvement.
Oh, you should feel better, you should perform better, your energy level should go up, your balance and equilibrium should be better, flexibility would be better. There's so many health benefits to it. But as far as the actual seeing results, I was goofing around with it 10 minutes a day before I went to work. And in 1 month, I dropped a belt notch. And in 1 month, my wife asked me, she says, "Are you lifting weights?" Because my arms look bigger. It's not unusual for people to experience that in a very short order. So.
And then this one kind of goes along with it. Is 30 minutes too long for a jump session?
When you begin, yes, probably. But after you get going on it, no. 30 minutes, we have people that'll do it for hours. They just watch TV and have fun on it. I would do it for 2.5 days straight, pretty much, when I did trade shows. The only problem is I had to stop because I'd lose my voice, or I would lose too much weight. And I could lose 8 to 10 pounds in a weekend, which is just because I never stopped.
I wish that was my problem.
I had so much fun. People, for those who remember when I used to do this, I have a group of people gathered all around, and somebody else would be walking by, and I want to grab their attention, or if there was a little baby in the crib, and invariably babies know instinctively how important this bouncing up and down is, because I'd watch them, and virtually almost every time, as they were pushing their stroller by, the baby's arm, and I'd watch for it, would go out the stroller and point right to me. It was like, they knew. I'm like, oh, how cute. So I would grab as many people as I could, and we would just work with people at helping them feel their muscles and talking to them about what they wanted to accomplish. And then there'd always be people that were there that had also experienced results, and they would step in and share those results. And so it was really a lot of excitement. But yeah, you can overdo it. You can lose too much weight too fast. You can detox too quickly when you first begin. I tell people drink lots of water, because when you move up and down, so does everything else. And then moving up and down, if you have heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, preservatives, chemicals, things that we've been exposed to over the years, the movement up and down helps to take those fat cells, as well as it can be in ligaments and tendons and muscle tissue as well. And as you move up and down, your cells are doing this. So they start to release those toxins and poisons. We want to drink lots of water so we can flush those out of our body. I tell people in 2 to 3 weeks they're going to feel like a whole different person. And generally they do, because their body parts and functions and circulation and everything improves.
It really does. I can attest to that. Okay. So this one comes from a gal that's actually looking at a Cellerciser right now, and I'm kind of hoping she's online with us. How wide is the jumping area and the frame? And then, because she's really limited on space and she wants to be sure it will fit. So
good. 40 inches in diameter. It folds up in...
Is that from the bar,
from one side to the other side.
Okay.
28 inches of surface to jump on. And the reason for that is this. If you get a bigger one, see, people say, oh, I want a bigger one. I said, well, the bigger they are, the less support you have in the middle, and the more likely your feet are going to pronate every time you land. And so we get people all the time that talk to us about ankle problems and knee problems, bouncing. They think it's fun when they first get it. But for exercise purposes, that's pretty intense. And landing like this over and over becomes a problem over time. So on the Cellerciser we have, and we've been doing it for 30 years, about 28 inches, one size fits all feet. You land anywhere on the mat, it lifts you straight up. You land at an angle, it lifts you straight up. You land on a mat that stretches some, you're not going to feel very supported. If you land at an angle, you'll feel like it's going to throw you right off. So the Cellerciser, again, is designed so that everybody, it doesn't matter whether they're like my 1-year-old granddaughter who uses it, or if you're in your 90s or 100s, it's designed to support every person on that Cellerciser. And our tri-adaptable spring design actually adjusts to the weight or the height that the person is jumping.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Will rebounding help to increase bone density?
Any weight-bearing activity can increase osteoblastic activity to strengthen the bones. And I'd suggest take a look at some of the customer reviews on our website and see what other people have said. I mean, we've got one lady there who went from osteoporosis to osteopenia, and the doctor said there was no way that she could have accomplished what she did. But she talks about her story and how many years she'd been tracking her T-score. And this is, it's not unusual.
Okay. And I think this is going to be our last one here. Is there anything I can do while bouncing to help relieve tennis elbow?
Yeah, I think I addressed this one, and that was, if you're on a Cellerciser, things like this up and down, that's fine, that helps. There is something that I used years ago when I was using a jackhammer, and we were working out on our parking lot, and I was putting up little speed type fencing, and everybody got tired, but I just kept going at it, and all day long. And I was motivated and inspired, and I just wanted to get this done. And for nearly a year afterwards, I had my elbows where I had torn up the tendons, and I was working on the Cellerciser, and it was helping. But when I got what's called a DynaFlex,
I looked that up.
They're Did you look cool. it up? Yeah, I got a little. It's a little gyro type device that you hold on to and spin. When I got that, and I started doing curls with it, I'd actually have it going real fast and doing curls. In fact, let me get one.
Okay, let's have you go grab that.
I happen
and
to
while
have
we do that,
one.
I'll tell them where to find videos, or at least clips of things. So it was asked where the videos are. We have some that are here. You can also go to the website, and it shows several of the techniques on the website in the exercise area. We post a lot of things on YouTube under Cellerciser there as well. And then you have the, tell me the name of the DVD again.
Cellercise, the ultimate.
Okay, that's right. Cellercise, the ultimate exercise, that you can actually purchase from the website, and that has more than what we actually have posted online as well. So there's that. Okay.
All right. This, I'm not a distributor of theirs. This is just something that I did at one point that really made a difference for me. So it's a little round thing. You get it going so it's pretty fast, and then just bounce. The bouncing adds more weight as you're moving it up and down. And I did this for, several months, many years ago. It's still in my office. But, and then you just use the other arm.
And it doesn't weigh very much all on its own. It's very light.
Yeah, it is.
But it does, when that's moving and it has that motion, it does give just that little bit of extra weight.
It really does, and it really works on the tendons and the ligaments in the joint area.
Would that be beneficial for carpal tunnel as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In fact, it's been promoted for that. So it's something to consider.
Okay, so that's the questions that we have today. If there were any new ones that came through, we'll be sure that they get answered. And let's go through my routine and what we can do.
What we have Christine doing right now, every morning, first of all, is a gentle baby bounce. We want to gently open up circulation channels, and then we want to oxygenate the lungs, get to the other 1/3 of the lungs that most people don't get enough oxygen to. And that's simply by doing the breathing where you're on the mat the whole time, bend at the knee, stand up, breathe in, come down, breathe out. And it's going to open up the larynx, it's going to open up diaphragmatic breathing, it's going to increase oxygen into the bloodstream so metabolic processes can increase. It's probably one of the second healthy or third healthiest thing that I teach on the Cellerciser. It goes like this. And when you're done, I don't know if you hear a difference in the voice or not, but it does increase that oxygen. Don't do too much of that. You can get dizzy. There's a lot of oxygen into the bloodstream, into the brain. The bronchial tubes in the lungs may sound a little wheezy when you start. That's okay. That you're exercising them. In about 2 to 3 weeks, with most people, they sound very different. So you may want to do that every other day initially. So 2 to 3 minutes of that, 2 to 3 minutes of the health baby bounce, maybe 8 breathing in and out. If you do it 8 times the first time, you may notice, it's intense. And then we're going to do some of the just jogging, and you can do it where you're lifting your knees up, which is great because it works the core. Or if you tilt backwards slightly, you leverage the weight even more in the abdominals while you're still getting all the benefit. And you can build up to the point where you can go faster. So, but take your time. And when ligaments and tendons get stronger, it'll be easier to support that. And then the Jamba run, the twist. This twisting one is loosening everything up. in the waist, the hips, stimulating, improving circulation, all the internal organs, loosening up the lower back. And then the one that we love and hate, and that's the Jamba run. Again, if we want to burn calories quickly, we want to use the biggest muscles of the body because they have the greatest demand for fuel. And that's in the thighs and the buttocks. So we just kind of keep our back straight, feet flat, start off doing the Jamba walk, pushing down into the mat. You're not really lifting your feet up much at all. And when you get to a point where you feel that, you can stop, gently lift the heels up and down, increase circulation, blood flow, oxygen back to the muscles, and then you can do it again. You'll get to the point where you can do the Jamba run. And that's done like this. That's an intense movement. Want to keep your back straight. If you lean forward, it takes weight off the thighs. It makes it easier. And when you're done with the first set, just stand there, breathe, catch your breath, and then do it again. Every time you do it, you are challenging the circulation in the lower extremities. Now, we've had women who have claimed to get rid of their cellulite in as little as 2 and 3 weeks. Because it's so intense, it can grow new capillaries.
Okay.
So that's good. All right, so that's good to begin with.
And then end with the health bounce.
And then always end with the health bounce. This restores homeostasis, balance. If you're having a hard time sleeping at night, getting on the Cellerciser, relaxing your shoulders, back, buttocks, 2 to 3 minutes, and then going back to sleep.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Enjoy your week. Feel free to give us a call if you have any questions. And remember, you don't have to work out when you can play in.
Love it. Thank you.
Okay.